Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I am Liang Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. Snowy conditions have swept through parts of the U.S. Thursday. On Friday morning, Californians were greeted with the snow-capped hilltops and winter storm warnings. Actor Alec Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter after shooting and kill a cinematographer on set. Attorneys are now preparing for a pre-trial hearing. State lawmakers are considering a windfall tax for oil companies. This comes as Californians faced high gas prices at the pump last year. Extreme weather swept across parts of the U.S. yesterday. The winter storm has affected more than 70 million people. The National Weather Service warned of a cold and dangerous winter storm that could last through Saturday in California.
Rare winter conditions hit California on Thursday. Much of the state was under high wind and winter storm warnings. Mountains around the San Francisco Bay Area were capped with snow. Families head to higher elevations to play in snow near San Jose. And snow blanketed roadways in Joshua Tree National Park. Highway 17 to Santa Cruz is shut down in both directions due to snow and downed trees. A separate storm system has spawned uncommon winter weather in California, with rarely seen snow flurries in San Francisco and blizzard conditions expected at high elevations in the state. San Francisco and even Los Angeles could expect snow up to 8 feet through Saturday. The bad weather in the Golden State came as another monster U.S. winter storm pounded the northern plains and upper Midwest on Thursday. It killed a firefighter, knocked out power to more than 900,000 people, and canceled or delayed thousands of flights.
Thanks to more storms in recent days, California's water supply just went up some more. State water officials say early gains in the Sierra snowpack are a good sign, but we're not completely out of woods yet.
The State Department of Water Resources said on February 22nd that they can deliver 35% of requested water to the state's various water agencies. This number was at 30% in January and only at 5% in December. The record rainfall in California has bumped up the state's water supply significantly. Department Director Carla Nemeth said, "We're hopeful that more storms this week are a sign that the wet weather will return, but there remains a chance that 2023 will be a below-average water year in the northern Sierra." In response to the department's announcement, Adel Haj-Khalil, general manager of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, said, "We are hopeful that our snowpack continues to grow as the winter season progresses and that it translates into the runoff we need to have a healthier water supply this year." California's 29 public water agencies serve about 70% of our state's population. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
An actor has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter after shooting and killing a cinematographer during a filming in New Mexico. Prosecutors and defense attorneys are preparing for a pretrial.
Alec Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to felony charges of involuntary manslaughter in the deadly shooting of a cinematographer on the set of a Western movie. He also waived his first formal court appearance. Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed were charged last month for shooting and killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. She died shortly after being wounded during rehearsals for the film Rust at a ranch on the outskirts of Santa Fe in October 2021. Baldwin and Gutierrez-Reed face up to 18 months in jail and a $5,000 fine under New Mexico law. Baldwin agreed to forego a hearing to have his rights explained to him. On Thursday, a judge set conditions of release that allow Baldwin to have limited contact with potential witnesses in connection with plans to complete the filming. Prosecutors and defense attorneys are preparing for a likely preliminary hearing within a few months to determine if there is sufficient evidence to proceed to trial. Other provisions of Baldwin's pre-trial release include a prohibition on consuming alcohol and against any possession of weapons, including firearms. Hutchins' death paused work on Rust. According to Rust Movie Productions, filming will resume this spring without real weapons or ammunition on set. Gutierrez-Reed is scheduled to appear remotely at a court hearing Friday. Her attorney says she will enter a plea of not guilty.
Speaking of court cases, Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced to 16 more years in prison for sexual assault. This is on top of the already 2-decade sentence for a similar crime in New York.
A Los Angeles judge sentenced Harvey Weinstein to 16 years in prison on Thursday. This comes after a jury convicted him of the 2013 rape and sexual assault of an Italian actor and model. Weinstein directly appealed to the Los Angeles Superior Court, claiming he was innocent. But Judge Lisa Lynch handed down the sentence after rejecting a motion by Weinstein's lawyers for a new trial. Prosecutors and Weinstein's attorneys declined to comment after the sentencing. Last week, Lynch rejected a request from Gloria Allred, an attorney for some of the women who testified at trial. Allred told reporters Thursday after the sentencing that her 3 clients wanted to give victim impact statements at the sentencing hearing.
To decide to call them as a victim and then not allow them to give a victim impact statement in a court of law so that their words and what they suffered, and the defendant can't hear what they suffered as a result of his misconduct and in some cases crimes against them, I think is unfair, outrageous, and not to be accepted, because the Constitution says that victims of crimes are worthy of respect and fairness and to be treated with dignity.
In December, jurors convicted Weinstein of 1 count of rape and 2 counts of sexual assault. The jury spared Weinstein an even longer sentence when they acquitted him of the sexual battery of a massage therapist and failed to reach verdicts on counts involving 2 other women. The 70-year-old already has a 20-plus year sentence that he needs to serve for a similar 2020 conviction in New York. Now, with the new 16-year sentence, Weinstein is set to serve over 36 years in prison. But legal uncertainties remain on both coasts for Weinstein. New York's highest court has agreed to hear his appeal in his rape and sexual assault convictions there. But prosecutors in Los Angeles have yet to say whether they will retry Weinstein for counts they failed to reach a verdict on. A hearing is scheduled for a possible retrial next month. Weinstein is eligible for parole in New York in 2039.
Lawmakers in California held a special public hearing on Tuesday to discuss the Windfall tax. The tax in question would impose a special tax on oil companies within the state.
Earlier this week, California lawmakers held a special public hearing to discuss and consider Governor Gavin Newsom's plan to impose a windfall tax on oil companies. According to Newsom, the proposal would place mandatory limits on oil refinery profits and add industry regulations and oversight. This comes as gas prices skyrocketed last year, reaching up to $6.44 per gallon. In a video last month, Newsom blamed large oil companies for price gouging before proposing the new tax.
And this fall, Californians were once again saddled with record gas prices as big oil reaped record profits. When have you heard that before? This time, though, we're going to do something about it.
Kevin Slagle, spokesman for the Western States Petroleum Association, told Epoch Times that Californians need to understand that this is another tax that will affect costs at the pump. But Newsom says the penalty will not become another tax for residents. Republican Senator Brian Dahle, who serves as vice chair of the Senate committee hearing the proposal, asked Newsom to take several steps to avoid the rising fuel costs. In a February 21st letter to Newsom, legislators asked the governor to stop an 8% gas tax hike that is set for July 1st, to extend the diesel tax holiday that will expire on September 30th, and to delay the state's yearly transition to a summer blend gasoline that will add as much as 28 cents per gallon.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. A new bill is seeking to limit campaign contributions to school board candidates. Some say it will ensure fairness, but others say it doesn't address the issue of special interest groups. Zoos are debating the future of captive elephants. Some say elephants in zoos offer the public a learning experience, but others say the small and artificial environment is not good for elephants. Welcome back to California Today. I am your host, Liang Zhang. A new bill would limit campaign contributions to school and community college board candidates. The author says the goal is to ensure fairness and transparency. But a former state lawmaker says it doesn't solve the problem of special interest groups.
State Senator Bill Dodd of District Napa introduced SB 328 this month. The bill aims to limit campaign contributions to school and community college board candidates. The bill would cap individual contributions at $5,500, which is the same limit for city, state, and county offices. Dodd said the bill aims to ensure fairness, accountability, and transparency in local elections, and to encourage more grassroots and minority candidates to run. U.S. Representative Kevin Mullen of District South San Francisco praised Dodd's bill. Mullen introduced a similar bill in 2019 to limit donations for city and county offices. Gloria Romero, an education reformer and previous state senator, told the Epoch Times that the bill is a positive step, but it doesn't solve the problem of special interest groups trying to control local school board elections. State senators are expected to hear SB 328 in committee in March.
The San Francisco Board of Supervisors may soon pull its boycott on conservative red states. This comes as the move backfired and hurt the city's own finances. The Board of Supervisors in San Francisco may end its boycott on conservative red states. Supervisors say the 2016 ban on municipally funded travel and contracting failed to impact those states' policies and have caused the city's contracting costs to jump up almost a fifth. In 2017, San Francisco added 8 U.S. states to its blacklist. Since then, relations with at least 30 conservative states, which passed laws to restrict homosexual and transgender rights, abortion access, and enhance voting ballot security, were affected by the city's edict. The ordinance was meant to pressure conservative states to change their laws by pulling investment from the city's residents and businesses. But the bill reportedly accomplished very little since most Republican legislators in those states could safely ignore San Francisco. Los Angeles, Seattle, and New York have also enacted various similar sanctions on conservative states, but most of these policies have been repealed due to their ineffectiveness. Zoos are divided on the future of keeping elephants in captivity. Some argue their presence helps teach the public about conservation, but others say the artificial environment is too poor an environment for their natural habitat.
At Fresno Chaffee Zoo, elephants are a highlight for the visitors who come to see them. Zoo officials are committed to caring for elephants. They believe that teaching community members about animals up close, not through a photo or a video screen, makes a difference and can inspire a lifelong commitment to wildlife and habitat conservation.
The mission of the Fresno Chaffee Zoo is to inspire people to care for animals, to make connections, to build community, and to save wildlife. There is no better ambassador for that story than African elephants.
The Association of Zoos and Aquariums says there are currently about 160 African elephants living in U.S. zoos. Dolan insists the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes to keeping them in captivity.
If one animal can tell a story that saves hundreds of animals, that saves vast range habitat, then that animal is doing something incredibly meaningful, incredibly valuable. And if we can give that animal an incredibly good quality of life while it's doing that, I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Fresno has recently opened an updated 13-acre African exhibit to better house elephants. The city has been working with other zoos across the nation on breeding the next generation of zoo elephants. Still, it's not the same as wandering Africa's Great Plains.
If we want to have these animals for exhibit into the future in zoos and aquariums around the country, we have to be very thoughtful and proactive in our breeding programs to have those sustainable, genetically diverse populations, and that's what we do.
But there are plenty of zoos where elephants are no longer exhibited. In recent years, places like Detroit Zoo and San Francisco Zoo have stopped their elephant programs and sent their aging animals to sanctuaries. A sanctuary run by Performing Animal Welfare Society, or PAWS, in Northern California is home to 7 elephants, which came from various zoos and circuses. They have 80 acres of land in San Andreas to wander. But PAWS CEO Ed Stewart says even that much space is not enough. He claims the argument that keeping elephants in zoos helps conserve them in the wild is simply not true.
The thinking is that if you see an elephant in captivity, somehow you appreciate elephants and you want to do something to help elephants. Well, when captivity started in the United States about 220 years ago, there were 27 million African elephants. So if that model worked, if you go somewhere and see an elephant and you appreciate it and you want to save it, it's not working because now there's about 500,000.
One of the residents here is 57-year-old Lulu. She is believed to be the oldest elephant in captivity in North America and came to the sanctuary in 2004 when San Francisco Zoo phased out its elephant exhibit.
The real tragedy is that she was taken away in I think 1966 from her family. She would still be with her family. She could still, if she was wild, have a baby. She wouldn't be the oldest elephant in the wild. She's the oldest elephant in captivity because captivity kills elephants at such a young age.
He hopes one day his sanctuary is no longer necessary. On a global level, countries recently put a hold on the trade of African elephants under a long-standing treaty aimed at protecting endangered animals while they discuss conditions for such transfers to take place. Without breeding, it isn't clear what the future would be for elephants in zoos as they have relatively few offspring and a long gestational cycle.
Now let's check in with NTD's Carlos Reyes for today's Sports Roundup.
I'm Carlos Reyes, taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup. Malik Beasley scored 25 points and Austin Reeves added 17 as the new-look Los Angeles Lakers earned a 124-111 victory Thursday over the visiting Golden State Warriors in the first game back from the All-Star break. After his lowest scoring first half of the season, LeBron James finished with 13 points on 5 of 20 shooting for the Lakers, who won for the third time in their last 4 games. Anthony Davis scored 12 points with 12 rebounds for Los Angeles. James, who scored 5 points in the first half, saw his streak of scoring at least 20 points end at 37 games. He added 9 rebounds and 8 assists. Klay Thompson scored 22 points, and Ty Jerome added 20 for the Warriors, who were without Stephen Curry and Andrew Wiggins. Golden State lost for the 4th time in its last 5 games and remained stuck on 7 road victories, the lowest among postseason eligible teams. De'Aaron Fox took advantage of a short-handed and travel-weary Portland roster to pour in 31 points as Sacramento romped at home behind Domantas Sabonis' 7th triple-double of the season. The Trail Blazers elected to hold Damian Lillard and Jeremy Grant out of the game after Portland, following a long weather-related delay on the runway and eventual flight cancellation on Wednesday night, was unable to travel into the California capital until Thursday morning. The 11 players who suited up for the Trailblazers didn't appear to be bothered by the nuisance early in the game, as Portland blasted out to 11-2, 19-4, and 27-11 leads en route to a 37-29 advantage through 12 minutes. But the rest of the night belonged to the Kings, who scorched the Portland defense for 54% shooting en route to their 15th 130-point game of the season and their 4th win in 6 games. Kings 133, Trailblazers 116. Dawson Mercer remained red hot, scoring a tying goal early in the 3rd period before collecting his first overtime goal to lift New Jersey past visiting Los Angeles, which has lost the first 2 games of its 5-game road trip, each by just 1 goal. After taking the puck along the boards and passing it to Dougie Hamilton, Mercer then dashed past Drew Doughty and into the crease, where he took the puck back from Hamilton and chipped it past Phoenix Copley for his 7th goal in the last 5 games. Thomas Tatar scored in the second period for the Devils, who have won 3 of their last 4. Goalie Vitek Vanacek made 19 saves. After Sean Dursey gave the Kings a 3-2 lead in the third, Nico Hischier drew the Devils even again to force overtime by redirecting a shot by Jack Hughes with 38.6 seconds left in regulation, setting up Mercer's heroics. Devils 4, Kings 3. Michael Granlund scored 2 goals in a 3-point game, and Nino Niederreiter tallied twice to lead visiting Nashville past San Jose. Tommy Novak registered 1 goal and 1 assist, while teammate Yakov Trenin added a goal for the Predators, who have won 3 of their last 4. Matt Duchene collected 3 assists, while Saros made 22 saves for Nashville. Nico Sturm and Martin Kalt replied with a goal each, but it wasn't enough for the Sharks, who have lost 4 out of their last 5 games. James Reimer stopped 25 shots as San Jose went on to lose 6-2 to the Predators.
And that is it for today's Sports Roundup. I'm Carlos Reyes. Thanks for watching.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.